Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnupad Paramamsa Parvajakacarya Astotar Satashishimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parvajakacarya Astotar Satashishimad Shringa Guru Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Ananti Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mayapur Navadip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai New Dwarka Dham Ki Jai Their Divine Lordship Shri Shri Rukmini Dwarkadish Ki Jai Their Divine Lordship Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Shrimati Subhadra Ki Jai Their Divine Lordship Shri Shri Gornitai Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai Transcendental Prasadam Distribution Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hare Hare Bol All glories to all the assembled devotees Hare Krishna All glories to all the assembled devotees Hare Krishna All glories to all the assembled devotees Hare Krishna all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya So today we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the first canto, chapter 8, text number 6. Yajayitva svamedais tam Yajayitva svamedas tam Tribir Uttama Kalpakai Tribir Uttama Kalpakai Tadyasaha Pavanam Dikshu Tadyasa Pavanam Dikshu Sata Manyor Ivatanot Shata Manyor Ivatanot Yajait Vasvame Dastam Tribirutama Kalpakai Tadyasa Pavanam Dikshu Sattamanayor Ivatanot Yajait Vasvamedastvam Tribirutama Kalpakai Tadyasa Pavanam Dikshu Sattamanyor Ivatanot Ajay Vasmatamane Dastam Yuktadarkma Kapatai Nishamamadak Nikshu Tamanyor Dakshanmo Samedastam Uttamakalpakai Panisam Kapalang Bhikshu Tenor. Tributama Kalpakai Yadasya Pavanam Dikshu Satamanyor Ivatanot Yajaitam Vasvamedastam Tributama Kalpakai Tadyasya Pavanam Dikshu Satamanyor Ivada Vaishnavis Yait Vasvamedastam Tributama Kalpakai Tadyasya Pavanam Dikshu Satamanayor Ivatanot Yajaitva by performing Asvamedha Yagna in which a horse is sacrificed. Tam him, King Yudhisthira. Tribi 3. Uttama best. Kalpakai supplied with proper ingredients and performed by able priests. Tat that. Yashaha fame. Pavanam virtuous. Dikshu all directions. Shattamanayo Indra who performed 100 such sacrifices. Eva like. Attanat spread. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Lord Shri Krishna caused 3 well-performed Asvamedha Yajnas, horse sacrifices, to be conducted by Maharaj Yudhisthira, and thus caused his virtuous fame to be glorified in all directions, like that of Indra, who had performed 100 such sacrifices. Please repeat. Lord Shri Krishna caused 3 well-performed Asvamedha Yajnas, horse sacrifices, to be conducted by Maharaj Yudhisthira, and thus caused his virtuous fame to be glorified in all directions, like that of Indra, who had performed 100 such sacrifices. Purport. This is something like the preface to the performances of Asvamedha Yajna by Maharaj Yudhisthira. The comparison of Maharaj Yudhisthira to the King of Heaven is significant. The King of Heaven is thousands and thousands of times greater than Maharaj Yudhisthira in opulence. Yet the fame of Maharaj Yudhisthira was not less. The reason is that Maharaj Yudhisthira was a pure devotee of the Lord, and by his grace only was King Yudhisthira on the level of the King of Heaven, even though he performed only 3 yajnas, whereas the King of Heaven performed hundreds. That is the prerogative of a devotee of the Lord. The Lord is equal to everyone, but a devotee of the Lord is more glorified because he is always in touch with the All-Great. The sun rays are equally distributed, but still there are some places which are always dark. This is not due to the sun, but to the receptive power. Similarly, those who are cent% devotees of the Lord get the full-fledged mercy of the Lord, which is always equally distributed everywhere. Wow. Om Jnana Tamarandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chaksus Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Upakadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanchakopa Tubhischa Kripasindu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Lord Shri Krishna caused the 3 well-performed Asvamedha Yajnas, horse sacrifices, to be conducted by Maharaj Yudhisthira, and thus caused his virtuous fame to be glorified in all directions, like that of Indra, who had performed 100 such sacrifices. So today we'll talk a little bit about Asvamedha Yajnas, and we'll talk about how the devotees are in touch with Krishna, with the great. So these Asvamedha Yajnas can't be performed by just anybody. They had to be the actual rulers, great warriors, great kings. They were the only ones that were eligible. Just like to become the president or a leader, you have to have some qualifications. But just think if they had to have the qualifications of performing at least one Asvamedha Yajna. You had to be a very powerful person. Just like Maharaj Yudhisthira was very powerful, and he had very powerful brothers. And he'd send them all directions and conquer the world and send this horse, the challenge horse, which had a gold plate, which said that you either surrender and give tax or we will fight. So the horse was sent to all these different kingdoms around the world. And if somebody challenges, the army was there ready to defeat them. But if Arjuna comes up to your kingdom and says, okay, surrender, Maharaj Yudhisthira is the king of the world, I don't think many people would want to fight Arjuna. So just think if this was a qualification to become a leader nowadays, who could do this? I mean, you had to have such wealth, such power. Not only that, you had to be a saintly person. You had to be very pious. You had to be a devotee of Krishna. So it says here, Krishna made it possible for King Yudhisthira to perform these Asvamedha Yajnas. And he became greater than Lord Indra. And why they said? Because Maharaj Yudhisthira is a devotee. But Indra is a devotee too, isn't he? But I guess Maharaj Yudhisthira is pure devotee. We see Indra always getting into trouble sometimes. But he performed 100 yajnas. And if you can actually perform 100 this Asvamedha Yajnas, you can actually become Lord Indra. You could become the king of heaven. This is the qualification. But Maharaj Yudhisthira only performed 3, so therefore, even though he did 3, he was considered greater, more famous. There's that one quote in the Chaitanya Charitamrita where Lord Chaitanya is discussing with Ramananda Roy, who is the most famous person in the world? And he said, oh, a pure devotee of Krishna is the most famous. So this is the devotees. They're automatically famous. They don't strive to become famous. Nowadays, people want to become famous, but at great risk. Just like we know our George Harrison, very famous person. So crazy people may think, I want to become famous too, so let me try to kill a famous person and then I'll be famous. So this is the threat, the danger. People have to hide so many places. We have a lot of celebrities that come here sometimes, but a lot of the devotees don't even know who they are, so they like to come here. Nobody recognizes them. Because if you recognize a celebrity, then everybody's running around you. Can you support this? Can you support this program? Can you do this? Can you do that? But the devotees, they're not interested in that. But automatically they're famous because they're devotees of Krishna. And Krishna is the most famous. So if you're in touch with Krishna, like Maharaj Yudhisthira, then automatically Krishna is going to make you famous. So this is what's happening. So this special horse was sent all over the world. And then if nobody challenges, then they all give this Dakshin to perform this sacrifice. It took a lot of wealth to perform this sacrifice, because they had to give in charity. And then this horse would be put into the fire. But the horse definitely would lose his body, but some say that he would get the body of a Gandharva, or at least another young horse, whatever. So, but he gets a new life. So this is the power of the Vedic mantra. So it's said here that this yajna was performed with able priests. So it's not like the king just whimsically started to do yajnas without any kind of, authority or instructions, but he just actually went there under the guidance of these able priests. And that's another problem today. You can't even perform these yajnas because there's no able priests in the age of Kali to perform these types of sacrifices. So this is what the problem is today. So we have so many false leaders, so many leaders that are just exploiting the people instead of actually trying to treat the people like your own family. And this is what Maharaj Yudhishthira did. He was very concerned about the citizens and how they were treated. And he made all these different appearances in all over the world to make sure these things are going on properly. So not only was he had this power and able to have these priests, but he was actually able to invite all the other leaders of the other planets to come to his sacrifice. And people wonder whether there's life on other planets. But here, yeah, there is life on other planets. They have leaders, there's presidents, there are kings, and they're invited to come to this, attend in this special sacrifice. You see, who can do that today? People don't even know that there's other living entities beyond their own city practically, or their whatever. So these heads of planets, these devas, they actually came and they partook in this sacrifice. So we could see great personalities, they can do this. And we have a great personality, Srila Prabhupada. He's considered to be a great general. And there's a book it's called the Chaitanya Mangala, and it's by Lochan Das Thakur. And there it's talking about how Narada Muni was concerned about the souls in Kali Yuga. And so he was sent to Goloka to find out. And there he saw a beautiful form of Lord Chaitanya. And around him was his associates. And Lord Chaitanya was talking about how he will appear here and he's going to send all his associates there to come before him, some with him and some after him. And he pointed to one of his associates there and he said, "You will be the Sanipati Bhakta." The Sanipati means like a commander-in-chief. And you will go after me and you will actually help these miscreants who have crossed the ocean to try to escape this Sankirtan movement. So you will also cross the ocean and you'll follow them and you'll capture them all. And then you will grab them in the net of this Sankirtan movement. And you'll take this chopper, which will be like, it's the holy name, and you'll just cut the axe. It's like an axe. And you'll cut all their material desires. So this was predicted by Gauranga Mahaprabhu himself. And who is that? That's Srila Prabhupada. Yeah, Prabhupada he's predicted to come. So these great personalities, and Prabhupada came. He was like a great general. He went all over the world. Like Maharaj Yudhishthira and the Pandavas. If you see many remnants around the world, it's proof that the Pandavas went and conquered everywhere. If you go to Bali, I heard that there's, even in the airport, near there, there's a huge statue of Parthasarthi, right? Krishna and Arjuna. And then we heard from Gaudacandra the other day about Cambodia. There's a huge Vishnu temple there. You see? And then I even heard in Australia, that's the place where the Kshatriyas used to go and test out their astras, their weapons. So I heard that just the eastern side is green, and then the rest is like a desert, because this is where they were practicing all their astras. That's why they call it Astra Aya. Not Australia, it's Astra Aya. Have you heard that? You're from Australia. No? But I heard that in devotee gave a class. So yeah, this is where they used to practice all over the world. Very powerful. So these great personalities were able to attract these great souls. And they would come where these yagyas are being performed. Even today, great personalities are appearing where there's Sankirtan yagya. We heard the story when there was a great, amazing kirtan going on in New York. And Prabhupada was saying that Narada Muni appeared there. And he was enjoying the kirtan to see how these Malechas and Yavanas and Kali Yuga are taking up this Sankirtan yagya. And even in after Rath Yatra one time in San Francisco, right, Srila Prabhupada, 5 Mile, he was dancing and chanting. And then the devotee that was taking him back in the car, he said, "Did you see the beautiful parade, the beautiful festival?" And he goes, "Yes, yes." He goes, "Did you see Gorni Tai there? They were dancing so beautifully." He said, "Did you see them?" He was like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah, Lord Chaitanya were there. They were so beautiful. They were dancing nicely." So see, even Krishna himself is coming here. He came in the form of his holy name. And only a great personality can do this. A great personality can go all over the world and conquer on behalf of Krishna, give them the holy name, so they can also conquer their own weaknesses and clouds. Just like Maharaj Yudhishthira was always in touch with Krishna. His consciousness wasn't clouded like a Kali Yuga consciousness. But we have to clear the consciousness, then we can always be in touch with Krishna. So Prabhupada was arguing with Krishna. He said, "I don't want to go to that place. I don't like austerities. Kali Yuga, it's very austere." And Krishna said, "Don't worry, I'll take care of you." And then another time, they said that Prabhupada was arguing with Krishna. He says, "I want to preach all over the world as a rich man." So we can see Prabhupada on his hand, his astrological prediction was that he'd be the richest man in India. But Krishna had a different idea. He said, "No, I want you to go as a poor man." And he did that. Came across the ocean as a poor man. And why? Because Krishna wanted to make him even more famous. Just see, Srila Prabhupada, how famous he is. That's why we sing every morning in the Guru Puja, he's the most famous in the entire 3 worlds. It should be glorified in the 3 worlds. What is it? Kushushuk Tri Bhuvana. That we sing that every morning. Srila Prabhupada is very famous. So Prabhupada has I found some different areas where Prabhupada talks. Even at the end of this chapter, the last couple verses, Prabhupada brings up this point again about Maharaj Yudhishthira and how he was such a great personality and such a great soul, and how he's talking. He says, "I have killed so many men, and they are, some of them father, some of them are brothers, some of them are sons, some of them are husbands of the women. And because I have killed them, now this woman class, they have become friendless. So he is. Just see how much he is aggrieved, thinking of the condition of the woman. And people accuse that India, women are considered just like slaves. Just see, the king is thinking of women so seriously. And it is a fact that in India, woman is taken as slaves. Who cares for the slaves? So much anxiety. And that is king, yes. A king shall give protection to everyone, especially those who are helpless." So this is a lecture Prabhupada gave on the 51st verse in this chapter. And then he says again, the point is that Maharaj Yudhishthira, how responsible king, just think over. Arjuna was also thinking before fighting. He was arguing with Krishna that if I kill my brothers, my sister-in-laws, they'll be widow. And there will be no such thing as widow marriage in India. No, widow can marry. Why? Because the woman population is greater than the man. If the woman again marries, then the unmarried girl does not get a chance to have another husband. Therefore, there was a no widow marriage. Widow marriage was especially allowed only when the girl did not see her husband at any time or she had no children. So this is the culture, the Krishna culture, that the king had to maintain. And then again, Prabhupada says, so the point is that Maharaj Yudhishthira, how much responsible king he was. That for ordinary women, the soldiers, take for soldiers or officers, commanders in chief, they all died. Now he's thinking of their welfare activities, how to give protection to these women. Just imagine how much responsible king. And he's thinking in this way, that the sinful activity which I have done in this connection by killing their husbands or sons or father, even if I give some donation as welfare, just like in your country there's welfare departments. So they give all these donations to them and think that they'll be happy, but actually they're not happy by a donation because they're not protected. And so the point is that Maharaj Yudhishthira was so concerned of the protection for the citizens that he was thinking that this yajna isn't even sufficient for me because I've killed these people and these people are going to suffer. Even though the yajna was required for Krishna and to help bring, rain and bring nourishment, the combination of the demigods and the human beings cooperating to bring rains and grains and things like that. So Prabhupada again is bringing this point. So the king must be very responsible for the citizens, how they were happy. So Yudhishthira Maharaj was that type of king. Every king was like that. It was the duty of the king to see. You have read already that during Yudhishthira Maharaj's time, there was no excessive heat or excessive cold, neither there was disease in the country, because the king was so perfect, so pious, so God-conscious, that these things would be not disturb. And the citizens also would abide by the orders of the king. So everything was very peaceful, very peaceful. So without king, not like the present government officers, all rogues, and simply take taxes and let the citizens go to hell. There is no protection for anyone, either for the children, either for the brahmanas, or for the women. No protection. You go to hell, if you like. We can give you some contribution. That's all. No, the king must be so responsible that he should see that the comfort of the citizens, especially the brahmanas, the children, and the women, this was the duty of the king. Just see how neglectful they are today. So that's very heavy. Anyway, there's some more points Srila Prabhupada made about this Maharaj Yudhishthira. So in the third canto, there's a verse that says, the Supreme Lord induced the son of Dharma to perform 3 horse sacrifices, and Maharaj Yudhishthira, constantly following Krishna, the personality of Godhead, protected and enjoyed the earth, assisted by his younger brothers. So this is a nice purport Srila Prabhupada wrote. It's a couple paragraphs. Maharaj Yudhishthira was the ideal monarchical representative on the earth because he was a constant follower of the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna. He was a follower. As stated in the Vedas, Ishopanishad, the Lord is the proprietor of the entire manifested cosmic creation, which represents a chance for the conditioned souls to revive their eternal relationship with the Lord and thus go back to Godhead, back home. The whole system of the material world is arranged with that program and plan. This is Krishna's plan, his program. Anyone who violates the plan is punished by the law of nature, which is acting by the direction of the Supreme Lord. Maharaj Yudhishthira was installed on the throne of the earth as the representative of the Lord. The king is always expected to be the representative of the Lord. Perfect monarchy necessitates representation of the supreme will of the Lord. And Maharaj Yudhishthira was the ideal monarch on this supreme principle. Both the king and the subjects were happy in the discharge of worldly duties, and thus protection of the citizens and enjoyment of natural life with full cooperation of material nature followed in the reign of Maharaj Yudhishthira and his worthy descendants like Maharaj Parikshit. So we see even Maharaj Parikshit performed Aswamedha Yajnas. It's described, where is that? Yeah, it was in, Prabhupada gave a class in LA in the first canto, 16th chapter. So Maharaj Parikshit was so exalted king that by his invitation the demigods would come and public would see. That was possible. That is stated here. He was so, exalted king he could invite. And the kings also were invited, just like Maharaj Yudhishthira went. This was interplanetary exchange. That is now not. You cannot go to the Sputniks, to the heavenly planets. The moon planet is also one of the heavenly planet. Or the other planets. They're all heavenly planets. So he's saying that you can't go there unless you're actually so. And then he talks about Maharaj Parikshit here. So Maharaj Parikshit was the emperor of the whole world, this planet, the whole planet. So he performed 3 times. So he was 3 times challenged, actually, is talking about here how Maharaj Parikshit was challenged 3 times. Sometimes people will challenge you, so he did that. Under the guidance here, it's described of a guru, not whimsically. Prabhupada here says, in quotes, "Oh, I have got my own idea. I've got my own God. I can do whatever I like." End quote. And Prabhupada says, this is simply waste of time. And then in the Bhagavad Gita is said that anyone who does not follow the instructions of the Shastra, how things should be done, and does things whimsically, nasukam savapnoti, he will never get happiness. So here again, Prabhupada's making the point, just like here he had his qualified Brahmana priests, so everything should be done according to the Shastra. The sadhus, sadhu, Shastra. These things are there. Guru, Shastra, sadhu. It's very important. Anything you do important, you have to get someone that's qualified. Just like if you have a legal thing, you have to get someone qualified that knows the law. So in the same way, we need people that know how to do things properly. And we have the perfect guidance through the Guru, through the sadhus, and the scriptures are here. So there's one more place here. Anyway, Prabhupada brings that same point in this other one, that there's scarcity because there's no food grains. There's famines, because the king is not performing his duties properly. So anyway, I'll finish with this last section of this chapter, the last verse of this chapter. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada talks about here, and this is bringing the point about how we keep in touch with Krishna. How, like Yudhishthira was. So he's using an analogy here. To clear the muddy water, put another lump of mud in it. This will not help. Something effective must be brought in. That effective thing is Kalu nastyeva nastyeva gatiranyata. Only this chanting of Hare Krishna mantra. The whole world is muddy. It is impure, full of sinful activities. So if you want to clear the situation of the modern world, then it is the only remedy. Harinama, Harinama, Harinama Kevalam, Kalo Nastiva, Nastiva, Nastiva Gatir Anyataha. There's no other way. And actually, we're seeing practically how by chanting this holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna mantra, how nasty people are becoming purified. Vaishnavas, Brahmana, actually nasty. These nasty people, they're becoming Brahmanas. And then he continues. This is also a lecture on that verse. You have to perform yajna every day to counteract the sinful reactions of your imperceptible killings of animals. Just see this in Vedic life. So Maharaj Yudhishthira says that it is not possible to counteract, but indirectly Yudhishthira Maharaj says that if you, simply the negative side, but the positive side is, so Prabhupada's kind of breaking up here. In the age, simply by chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, you become purified. That is a recommendation by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Chaito Darpana Marjanam. There are 2 kinds, what is called atonement. And one atonement by the prescribed method is that, and he goes into talking about thievery and how you get different methods for your sinful activity. And he's bringing the point that we have to perform something also, which is Sankirtan. And he also mentions here about there's always restrictions for these sinful activities, like drinking, even the government restricts them. Unless it's sex, this is restricted. Why? Because they're bad. Anything that's bad has to be restricted. You see, like good, there's no restriction on how many chapatis you can make or how many, types of sabjis or good things. But there's restrictions on these things because they're actually bad. So let me just end with Prabhupada's last paragraph of this lecture. So in the Kali Yuga, this sacrifice is recommended. Yagnai Sankirtan Prayur Yajatihi Sumeda Saha. Sankirtan Yajna. This yajna will help you. Real thing is the heart, the mind. If this yajna, Sankirtan Yajna, cleanses your mind and heart, then you come to the platform of knowledge. Then automatically other things become effective. So in this age, it is recommended that other yajnas will not be effective. Neither it is recommended. But the Sankirtan Yajna, Yajna Sankirtana, that is recommended. Everyone can join it and he can become purified. He can become situated on the spiritual platform and his life becomes successful. So I'll stop there and open it up for any comments, realizations, questions. Sir has a question? Comment? Oh, your throat hurts. I heard it from a devotee giving class from Australia. That's what he said. He said Prabhupada said that. I don't know where he got it from. Anybody here from Australia? No. Okay. All right, thank you for your kind attention. All glories to Srimad Bhagavatam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jai.